Good evening. My name is Kadaria Ahmed, and this is Straight Talk. My guest today is a medical doctor and an activist, currently working as a clinical instructor at the City University of New York. He's also a research fellow at New York University and the founder of the not-for-profit organization Every Nigerian Do Something Ends. A vociferous critic of the former Nigerian government, my guest campaigned against former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's bid to be president again. Not surprisingly, he left New York to attend the inauguration of the new Nigerian government. On Straight Talk today, I'm very pleased to have with me Dr. Peregrino Brimah. Doctor, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you very much, Kadaria. Thanks for having me.
Now, the government that you campaigned for is now in office. Are you happy?
I believe progressive Nigerians are all happy. What we are primarily most happy about is the fact that we got rid of the past government. So that's the biggest celebration. Now, we are optimistic, we are happy, but we are hopeful now. So I'll say right now I'm hopeful.
You are hopeful despite the problems that we've seen dogging the new National Assembly, the most recent being honorable members of the House of Representatives actually physically fighting on national television.
That is absolutely disgraceful. It's shameful. There's no hope in that assembly. And I have started, and some of us have started pushing a campaign to really restructure that assembly and do away entirely with the Senate. And that's my position. So what we campaigned for was to get rid of the Jonathan government and to put in a government that has some level of integrity, which is the Buhari and Osinbajo at the top. But the assembly still needs some serious work, and that's where we are focusing on right now.
But a large chunk of the members of the National Assembly are members of the president and the vice president's party. It sounds as if you're trying to separate things that really technically cannot be separated.
As an individual, I'm apolitical.
But you're being contradictory. You said you are apolitical. How can you be apolitical when everybody knows you have very clear ideas about what you think should happen in government, who should be in government, and you've used your organization to actually fight for these particular things?
I still refuse to call myself in any way or belonging to any political party.
Okay, so when you say what you mean is you don't belong, you don't believe in party politics.
I don't believe in party politics, not at all. I don't believe in party politics. All I'm interested in is good governance, and to me, good governance can come from anywhere. It could come from a military man, it could come from a soldier, it could come from, you could have good governance from anything. All I'm interested in is the individual and the type of governance that comes out of it.
Now, what is your grasp with the National Assembly?
You have a bunch of people who don't pass any bills and cut up the biggest chunk of our Commonwealth. These are people who are meant to represent us. And I challenge anybody to tell me what's the use of that number, 469 of them. What's their use? How do they represent us?
Well, the Constitution says you've got to have two chambers. You've got the Senate and the House of Reps.
And we need to do away with that, because a lot of times we adopt systems from places and we don't even know where those systems are coming from and why we are using those systems. This bicameral system started in the United Kingdom because of this problem. There are gaps between nobility and the common class. But we don't have any reason to use a bicameral system. And I've been pushing this campaign, scrap the Senate, because if you look around the world,
not the House of Reps, the Senate.
It's
why
two
one
bodies
and not the other? I'm trying to understand.
What I ideally believe we best need is to throw away the Senate entirely, because they are less representative of us in their selection. The way senators are selected is less representative. Now, the House of Reps is a little bit better, and that number we need to cut down. And the truth about these people, most of them, is it's some political bigwig that selects these people. So they in no way represent us. So I'm for cutting down the entire size and turning us into unicameral government, which is what more than half the countries in this world are unicameral. So why are we bicameral?
How realistic are your chances of success when it comes to this campaign, given the fact that for you to get rid of the Senate, you either need to change the Constitution or you need to get the Senate, along with the House of Reps, to pass a bill that says we're scrapping the Senate?
I believe where there is a will, there is a way. The primary the motto of ENDS, our organization, Every Nigerian Do Something. I truly believe that if we do come together and we do insist on the changes that we want, there's nothing that we should decide that this is out of reach or out of hand. We will force their hands to make the change that we need. So we are going to pressure them, we are going to frustrate them, and we will force their hands to make that change. And I believe it's attainable.
Is it just a question of, for you, the size of the National Assembly is too big and too costly?
And the Senate is redundant. You see, our senators they barely pass bills, and the few bills that they pass, lots of them are photocopies of things from outside this. If they were representing the people they are meant to represent, then we should support them. But I don't think there's any reason why we should continue to adopt, maintain, and support a system that has no efficiency, no value, and is actually a danger to Nigeria. So once we open up this conversation, a lot of things are going to happen. And that's why I think by their doing, they have stimulated this conversation. By their excessive greed.
And when you say by their doing?
Their excessive greed. 150 billion naira for 469, a budget for 469.
You know they dispute those numbers, don't you?
And that's the beginning of the criminality of it, if I may put it that way. Why don't we know how our money goes? That's a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy to defraud Nigeria. So that in itself is an important reason why these people must be held to account. And then I think even when we come down to the numbers, it used to be 150 billion. Put in the constituency project allowances. The list of constituency projects that they write, none of them are done. In fact, a senator from Nasarawa was saying in an interview that what I do with my constituency allowance is my business. Like, you don't have to ask me that if I want to buy a car for someone, his car is broken down, if I want to sponsor someone to Hajj.
That's a constituency project.
Yes, that if I want to sponsor someone to Hajj, that what I do with it is my. So the laxity, the freedom, the lack of accountability, let me tell you part of why I have a serious grouse with them. Throughout Jonathan's administration, we raised a lot of noise. We made a lot of noise for Jonathan to fight Boko Haram. He said he was reluctant to fight them. And the Christian Association of Nigeria in the North back then, when he said, we cannot send the army to wipe them out because these are our siblings, they said he should resign, that he's insensitive to the problems of people of the North. So he failed to until the last 6 weeks. That's when we saw that there are things he could have done differently.
And your conclusion about the role of the Senate in this is what?
They should have impeached him. Or at least we should have heard them saying we want to impeach him for something. At least attempt. They've attempted to impeach President Obama in the United States. They impeached Clinton.
Clinton, yeah.
Impeach or attempt to impeach him for the corruption, for releasing people from jail, for failing to bring back the Chibok girls, for failing to deploy the army as and at when due, for failing to cooperate with our neighbors in fighting terror, for failing to inform Nigerians properly about the terror situation. Impeach or attempt to impeach him. 3 times, at least, do I remember this Senate, which is similar to the last one, the 7th, mentioning the word impeach. And if you remember the last time, and each time, the only times they mentioned we are going to impeach him, and there was a time they mentioned that we have documents, dossiers against you, and we're going to take these to international court and report you to this and that. The time they did that was when their seats were challenged.
So, Dr. Brimah, again, the reason why you wanted the Senate scrapped is because they did not impeach President Jonathan.
That's one of the reasons. They are totally separate from their constituents. So they are detached from them. They only represent a so-called a new Abuja constituency. They are a new family. It's an Abuja constituency. They represent themselves. And that's why the last time they said they wanted to impeach him was about 4 weeks to when he was going to hand over. And they said, we're going to impeach him. They're, oh, we're going to impeach you unless you sign a bill. And what was the bill for? The bill gives them life immunity, gives them life pensions, gives them power over the president. That's the time they mention impeach. It's when it has things to do with themselves.
Okay, so tell me your campaign to get this done. How is that structured? What are you intending to do?
Every 2 weeks, we've promised them at the National Assembly that we're going to be protesting, both at the Assembly level, both at the Revenue Mobilization and Commission, and at the executive level. We're going to ask them to open all their books. And we are composing letters right now, and we're going to send letters to open all their books. Now, if we can prove substantial criminal behavior, criminal practices, embezzlement by the Senate, then we can consider different methods of dealing with that institution, because they are not, even though some people think that they are shelved from crimes due to the immunity, it's not really actually so. So we can actually think about further ways to press them, and they will vote. The House of Reps will vote and make that change by the time we are done with them.
Well, what do you make of the refusal of the president to get drawn into the crisis that the National Assembly is facing now?
This is the character of politics. So I respect him for saying he has to stop standing away from it, because we need to, let's be candid.
But aren't there consequences to his ability to govern when you have the sort of chaos that we see in the National Assembly?
Not with what we are proposing. I'll tell you something. If Buhari stays on his integrity, you have a National Assembly, you have Nigerian masses on this side who are ready for change and progress. I believe no matter what they do, no matter the fights, no matter the embarrassment, no matter the stupid choices, we, with Buhari on that side and Osinbajo standing for integrity, if he does what a lot of American presidents do, which is takes his case to the masses, if he takes his case to us, the people, we will frustrate those people. And you will see what will happen in the assembly. They will sit up.
Let us take a break. When we return, we speak a bit more about Dr. Brimah's not-for-profit organization, Every Nigerian Do Something. Don't go away.